Hello YouTube world, what is up? It is I, Talia Flores, with another video. And before we get into this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Talia Flores. I'm a 24-year-old disability advocate with cerebral palsy. And for today's YouTube video, I'm going to be talking about something very interesting that ties in with cerebral palsy. Last night I was on a podcast called Poetic Speaks with Shay Speaks, and we were talking about my disability and my condition and how it shapes me, etc., etc. I will put the link down below where you guys can catch me speaking on the podcast with Shay and her co-host Donovan. Awesome guy, shout out to him too. And basically I was on there and I was telling them how, although we are not physically authors, some of us may not have written a book, but we are authors of our own lives. So take the pencil without the eraser, write the chapters of your story, embrace them, mistakes and all. But another thing is, you have to remember, just because you're going through one bad chapter in your book doesn't mean it's the end. Yes, we all go through struggles with disabilities, especially us, dealing with the stereotypes, dealing with society not fully understanding, having to constantly adapt to society because society's not adapted for us, it wasn't made for us. So we constantly have to struggle to find ways to make it through society and deal with that. But at the same time, I just look at my life as, this is my life, this is my story, obstacles and all. I'm just gonna embrace it. You know why? Because this is the story that was written for you. A lot of people may not see it that way, but I see it that way. This was my story that was meant to be written for me. I was meant to be the main protagonist in this story. So I'm just going to live my life to the best of my ability. And as I'm saying that, my CP decides to act up and embrace it. A lot of times people sit there and say, "Oh, Talia, why are you always so happy? Why are you always so positive about your disability? If I were in your shoes and I had the mindset you did and I couldn't get up and walk and do the same test that I do every day, I would be angry." And it's like, really? That's how you see life? You would be angry because you were put in this situation? No, I don't see my life like that. I see it as, yes, my life is difficult, my life's an adventure, and sometimes difficult. Let me rephrase that. Sometimes having cerebral palsy could be difficult. I'm not saying that it's an easy ride. But that's just a part of life, and in life you're gonna go through obstacles, but 99% of going through life is a test, and 10% is how you react to it. When I was going to school, I used to hate tests, but then as I got older, in my college years and etc., I realized that every day in life's a test. You're giving options, you're giving choices, but you don't know which answer's right or wrong. It's not like they give you A, B, C, D, bubble this in if you want to resolve the answer this way. Crap, if life was like that for me, it would be so much easier. But no, that's not how life is. And for me, I choose to embrace every obstacle that I went through, every mistake that I've gone through, every tramp that I've gone through, because it's a part of my story. And my scars are a part of my story too. Everything about me is a part of my story. This chair right here is a part of my story. So what I choose to do is live my life and enjoy the chapters of my book. You know, funny enough, I wrote one at 16, but yeah, that's how I choose to live my life as a person with a disability. I don't want a pity party because I have a disability. Or I don't want people to say, oh my gosh, you have a disability, like, this is so bad. No, I've never wanted a pity party. I never liked pity parties. What I want people to say is, wow, you have a disability, but you embraced it, you've done it, you achieved it. And, you know, that's what a lot of people don't understand. And that's why sometimes I get really frustrated with people. Because they can sit there and they could say, oh, I hate my life. I can't do this because I have X, Y, and Z and this obstacle in front of me. And it's like, really? Really? Like, you're just sitting here making excuses for yourself. You want people to feel bad for you because you're in the situation that you're in? No. And guys, this takes me to Crip Camp. If you believe in something and you want to strive for a goal in your life, it's that simple. Just go for it. Set your mindset to say, you know what, I'm going to do this today, I'm going to do this today, and I'm going to achieve that goal. That's something I do every day when I wake up. Every day when I wake up, I think of one thing positive about myself. And that's what gets me going through my journey. Or I read a book. Or I watch a motivational movie. Or I just do YouTube early in the morning, you know? So it's one of these things that you just have to enjoy the book and enjoy the chapters. You know, with cerebral palsy, I would say it's made my life an adventure. From the time I was born, from getting my first wheelchair, to my first AFOs, to my first day of first grade in a mainstream school. I gotta tell you guys that story. To graduating high school, to finishing my college and trade school, to advocating for you guys and writing for the several platforms that I write for, working on another book. So yeah, so that's what I would say. So if you're going through an obstacle and you feel like this chapter of your book could possibly end everything you worked hard for, relax. It's just one bad chapter. It's just one bad chapter. Yes, you're absolutely right. And sometimes when we're going through a bad chapter in a moment in our life story, we don't see that there's a positive side to it. Like, I recently went through something that would be considered a bad chapter. And later on, as I was going through it, I didn't see the good in it. But now that it's done and it's over with, I see the good in that chapter ending. And I've learned a lot from that chapter in my life. You know, it was an interesting one, but I've learned a very valuable lesson from it. And that is, no chapter's bad. None. I mean, I've been through so much, and I'm strong, and I will overcome this. But I've also learned that in certain situations, I have to learn how to put boundaries up for myself to say enough's enough. And that's okay. I mean, I don't consider it to be the greatest chapter of my life, but at least I've learned from it enough to say it's just one bad chapter. And I just have to keep on going, and I'm going to continue to be the person that I am and spread my message about cerebral palsy. You know, it is what it is. So, with that being said, you guys, if you're struggling and if you're going through something and you're just living in a bad chapter of your book right now, relax. It's just one bad chapter. Over and out. Bye, y'all.